Kiss 107.1 is WTLC Saginaw with Steve Harvey in the morning.
Mornings can't get no better. It's the Steve Harvey Morning Show.
It's simply the best R&B all day.
Y'all be jamming?
Listen live on your smartphone, in your car, at work, or live at KissWTLZ.com. We're Kiss 107.1.
You've been listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on Kiss 107.1. The views and opinions expressed on this show by the host, its guest, or call-ins do not necessarily represent the opinion of this station, the staff, its owners, connoisseur media, or its advertisers.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I am the host for the next hour of conversation. I am so delighted and pleased to be able to share this time with you all, our listening audience. Hopefully, if you're out there and I see you all coming into the stream, shout out to the first person I see in the stream, all the way from the great state of Tejas, Kelly Keaton Petros, excuse me. Hey, friend, how you doing out there? It's all good. Good in the neighborhood. We are out here. If you're out there watching on social media, I want you to like, tag, and share this conversation with someone else. Let them know the Straight Talk is on. And we're going to talk about silencing division. We're going to talk about that a little bit. So how do we silence division in the community? So many great things are happening. So much is going down. So many people who are putting hard work into the equation, and yet we have so many divisions, so many divisive things that are happening in our community. How do we silence that division? Before we get started, I want to do some housekeeping and some etiquette. I want to give a shout out to my producer who makes this happen every week after week, Matthew White. So what's good, Matt?
Hey, what up, dog? How are you doing today?
Good, Matt. Man, I told Matt before the show, I said, hey, I'm going to take you to a Frankie Beverly Amaze show. And somebody said, Frankie Beverly's dead. So I said, I'm going to take you to a Amaze show. And what'd you say, Matt?
Hey, let's go.
Matt is like, let's go. What up, though? Let's get it in. Thank you once again, Matt, for continually making this possible, making great things happen. As we're going to talk about tagline, make great things happen. And so I'm going to be here today in the studio. We'll also have Miss Amaya Bradley bringing in some sunshine and sunlight, talking about all of the great things that she says, girl, you make things happen. That conference is going on this week. I'm excited. Yours truly will be the first male to be a part of this conversation. I'm going to do a segment on Daddy's Little Girl. It's so very important. Oftentimes we talk about the role and the impact of a father in a son's life, but we often overlook the fact that there is a real need for dads, fathers to step into the lives of the young girls. So we're going to hear a little bit about that. But before we get to that, I got a couple of things I want to talk about when I talk about what's on my mind. I was talking with an older person and they said, hey, when are you going to talk about what's going on over here in Israel and in Iran? And they said with the Arabs. I was like, we don't call them Arabs. Older folk in the village refer to them as Arabs. We could be Arab people or Middle Eastern, right? But I want to talk a little bit about that just to make sure that the village is aware of what's happening before we get into our sunshine, our rainbows, and all of those other things. And then we tackle the conversation on silencing division in the community. But the petrodollar. So the United States, as we look at things and what's going on right now, a lot of what we see happening now is geopoliticization of things. It's geopolitics, global politics. And we are now entering into a place where we're seeing some things now that we haven't been able to see probably in the past 40 to 50 years. And so it's really interesting. My man, Ben Smith out there, God bless you. I love you, Ben. We don't get a chance to talk all the time. But what I love about you is that you are continually just doing great things. You do great things in the space that God has allotted you. He says one of the ways that we deal with this is by not entertaining the talk and put in the work. That's what I was just saying about you, Ben. If you wasn't doing nothing impactful, the devil would never show up. I agree with you 1,000%. But getting back to what's on my mind, the petrodollar. back in, I think it was like 1970s, 1968, 1970 or something like that. The U.S., in order to, there was a scare with the price of gold and the shortage of gold or something going on. And so they came up with this idea. This is the story, that they would create what would be called a petrodollar. And that petrodollar is basically creating a system that refers to a global practice of pricing and trading oil in U.S. dollars. U.S. dollars would become the main source or the main standard by which we trade oil. And what that meant is that currency of oil, which had forever been backed by the price of gold, now has shifted. And it means that the standard for the dollar, the value of the dollar, is now associated with oil, petroleum, because that's how we get the petro dollars. And so now recently there is something called the yuan that is, for the first time in 50 years, this is really something that is really a real deal. It is a real challenge to the US dollar. We now have the petrodollar versus the petro yuan. And what is basically taking place now that we have had the shift from the dollar being backed by gold standard to oil standard or petroleum, we now see that the US dollar had gained a sense of stability and some strength and basically controlling world markets, because the majority of the oil that was put out there was now being backed. This is a deal that US did with the Saudis. In exchange, the Saudis got protection and arms and guns. You know, we talk about these countries that we go to war with, but we never talk about the fact that we arm the countries that we eventually have to go to war with. But anyways, the Saudis got war arms and all of these different things. The dollar now becomes backed by the oil that exists, that is now flowing through the nation. And the mechanics of this is as such. 1973, 1974, if I'm correct, is when this happening. After the 1971 collapse of the gold standard, that's when the U.S. started this thing. And in 1974, they came up with this idea after striking a deal with Saudi Arabia that the price of oil in dollars in exchange for security guarantees. I told you all that. So the petrodollar recycling. Hey, what's going on out there? My man Jeff Bulls is in the house. So the petrodollar, so oil producing nations, which we refer to as OPEC. If you remember back in the 1980s, there was a big deal and they were talking about who's responsible is OPEC. OPEC are the oil producing and exporting countries in the world. They accumulated large surpluses of dollars, which they then recycle back into the U.S. economy by purchasing like treasury bonds and things of that nature and investing in the United States financial assets. This gave an exorbitant privilege that exists. The U.S. system, the dollar, finance and trade deficits with relative ease. They were able to finance these things because now there are these foreign nations that needed to buy dollars in order to buy oil. So like I said, this is the first test in a very long time to this system that has set up. The United States has pretty much dominated markets because of this petrodollar. But now we see the rise of this petro yuan. And this is all tied to what's happening in the Middle East with the Strait of Hormuz. This is essential to this, what's happening in Israel. And we see nations in a very interesting way aligning themselves up with either Iran and China and Russia and these other nations, or the U.S. and Israel, which is kind of standing by itself because many nations that were never a part of that conversation now find themselves aligning with the side where this petro yuan has the ability to really put the U.S. dollar in a headlock. So now we see, because of geopolitics, I was telling you, there's a shifting energy landscape. Tensions are escalating in Iran. The Strait of Hormuz is now being on lockdown. There's a treaty to try and open that up. The tough talk by the U.S. has not been able to do that. And this has become a flashpoint where global energy, military power, and international law are now converging. And so for many of us in the village, we say, hey, this doesn't mean anything, but you need to understand why gas is high and what could happen should things continue. There are being assessments that are thrown out there about the U.S. going into a R word. But we are in a very serious thing because it determines what is the eternal value that will be associated with our dollar. Now, if you're out there and it just don't matter, you say, I'm broke, it's a joke, I ain't got no money, it don't matter. Cool. But you still got to drive somewhere. So when you look at the climbing prices of gas as they go up, all of this plays a key role in why this is taking place. If you're out there and you got a few dollars in the stock market, we got a lot of brothers and sisters out there day trading and getting involved in investing. All of this plays a key function in how our markets and our systems that are based on the US dollar, which is based on oil, will fare as we look at how this yuan begins to come in. So now the Israel-Iran war is central to what is taking place. And this conflict has weakened the petrodollar. I should say the loop that the petrodollar is in, because now they're closing off the Strait of Hormuz, which when we look at this, large majority of the oil that comes through there, not only oil, but natural gas that comes through that strait. Gas is $5 down in ATL, flying back home ASAP. Absolutely. So when we look at what has happened with the Strait of Hormuz, it is a small strait, about 90 miles long, barely 21 miles across. And it's a very narrow opening right there by Iran and Oman. What happens is, as this is going through, the oil is the exports are trying to come through. About 20% of the world's global liquefied natural gas and oil shipments come through this thing, and any disruption can cause a significant global energy crisis around the world. And so when we look at this, there is something called the UN Convention of Laws of the Sea. They call it UCOLS, and UNCLOS, that's what it's called, UNCLOS. And this particular body came up with the treaty back in 1982. And what they said is that no country would be able to create an energy crisis. They wouldn't be able to use the seas and the waterways to create or cause detrimental harm to other nations. And so we are going to have this way that we operate with one another so that we won't use these natural borders as a way to stop this. And so in terms of closing the port, this is a problem because now they are in violation of this UNCLOS waterway agreement. However, what they have done, which I think is if I'm thinking about how you get through a situation and the nuanced approach to war and engaging when we talk about geopolitics and we talk about the economic impact of something, what they've done is they said, we're not going to close it, but if you're going to come through, we are no longer accepting purchases that take place via the US dollar, by the global dollar or the petrodollar. You have to purchase. We are allowing all oils to come through, all natural gas to come through that is attached or associated with the petro yuan, which means they are isolating a very strong backing to the US dollar from being able to be a part of what's happening. So nations are actually saying, okay, US, you're on your own. You wanted to go with this fight with Israel. You want to do this, you're on your own. We are getting ready to go over here. We're buying petro yuan so that our nation can continue to function. And so what's going to be interesting is to see how this continues to evolve as we go through this. Is the US dollar really in serious trouble? I believe that we are in a situation. We saw our government go down to South America and invade a nation over this whole idea of affordability as it relates to petroleum. We see our nation, we're fighting a war on drugs, but then we pardon a president who was caught with 200 was it tons? I can't remember, 200 tons, I believe it was, of cocaine. And we pardoned him. And I had the pleasure of seeing him give the prayer at the National Prayer Breakfast with the president. There are a lot of politics going on. It's just not just high gas pumps. This is beyond just the oil producing capabilities of the industry. Now we are in at that intersection where geography and politics, geopolitics, and how the economy now is impacted by the wars and the conversations that are taking place around the world. Now, don't be stupid. There are also some things that are taking place because however the United States president, however the president speaks, there are people who are literally making $1 billion when he says, we're going to do this war, we're going to strike. And then they invest in all these things and they shift over monies to other places because they understand what's going on. And then it doesn't happen and they shift back. But in that shifting, there are people, AKA allegedly Pete Hegseth, who are making billions of dollars off of these types of things, which is illegal. But in this modern day United States of America, there seems to be no guardrails to what people are actually able to do. So as you continually look at your gas prices go up, I want you to understand the dynamics and the backhand that's going on, and really the greater picture that's taking place here. The petrodollar is now seriously be given a threat by the petro yuan for what is going to control the national landscape, the international landscape, in terms of how we buy oil. Will it be the yuan or will it be the dollar? And we're going to see this happen in living color. All right, we're going to continue really quickly. I want to just talk. There's been a lot of conversation for everybody that's out there about the Democrats being the party of the KKK. And, you know, this confusing of messaging is a part of how politics and individuals use social media to conflate or to distort the realities of things. And so I want to talk about that just for a hot second. If you've been out there and you've been saying, oh, the Democrats are the party of the KKK, absolutely true. 1000% true. But we have to also understand, we've been hearing Nick Cannon and Amber Rose and Chili, who, by the way, is getting the flux. She is getting it all for her support of Trump. And so, you know, the thing that is so sad about this, and I want to say this, and Village, I said this before, but I want to say it again. That conglomeration of a grouping of women is so much bigger than Chili. That is T-Boz, that is Chili. It's legacy. It is a part of our hip hop culture. It is salt and pepper, people that we love. It is in vogue. And to destroy a concert, because I'm going to tell you, I think that there's sometimes ops that are out there when we have certain promoters that put things out there, depending on who this promoter is, depending on who's offering this opportunity, depending on the makeup of the promoters, who it is. There are sometimes stories that are put out there that are planted because they know that we are emotional people and we will shut it down. So let's figure out what's going on. Sister said it was a mistake. I guess she's been making mistakes over and over and over again. Hey, Donnie McClurkin said we fall down, but we get up. We keep making mistakes. So what I want us to understand is that this concert that is out there has the ability to really be super duper huge in terms of what it does for the record books for this powerful girl ensemble. Let's find out what are the real details about who's promoting this concert, who's behind the concert, because sometimes we may find out that's when certain details and information is leaked to get people to turn the tide and not buy tickets. I bet you if it was Taylor Swift out there, we know how many people were voting for the mega party with that. They're not going to push that narrative. They're not going to put it out there. So let's be wise in how we operate. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Girl, You Make Things Happen. And we are also going to get into that conversation about how we silence the division. I'm tired of it. I don't have place for it. I'm not a divisive person. I believe that God is a person who brings people together. And it is time for us to stop listening to the voices of dissent. And those who have mean good, who are doing well, who are making great things happen, have to come together. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll come back with more of Straight Talk.
You're listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
We can't see tomorrow, but we can hear it. And it sounds like peace of mind, knowing our lakes will be better protected by placing Line 5 in the Great Lakes Tunnel. And that we've added extra safety measures while we work to build it, because we're committed to keeping the Great Lakes safe for generations to come. Tomorrow is on. Visit enbridge.com/line5 for more information. Enbridge. Life takes energy.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Did you get the video?
Let me check. Nah, it's still trying to send, I guess. Oh, wait, it just came through. What? That is hilarious. Oh, no!
It might only take a second to check your phone while driving, but that's all the time it takes to change everything. Whatever it is, it can wait. Because whether it's a ticket, a crash, or a life, it's not worth it. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BLUE to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BLUE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BLUE for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
This week's exclusive offer on RocketGrabPlus.com is brought to you by Applied Training Solutions located in the Midland Mall. We're giving you half off a one-day Michigan concealed pistol license class, originally $120, now available for just $60. This class is a requirement for a CPL in the state of Michigan. Don't miss out on this fantastic deal. Visit RocketGrabPlus.com to claim yours today.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-550-8841. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-550-8841. That's 800-550-8841. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
It's Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
Hey, Straight Talk audience, this is Kareem. We're back with more of Straight Talk. Giving a shout out to everybody that's out there. I want to thank you guys for coming in. Once again, let's like, tag, and share this conversation with so many other people so that we create this place where we can have honest conversation and talk about the things that are really on our mind. Before we went to the break, there was something else I wanted to talk about. I led into this story saying that I was going to talk about Democrats of the Party of the KKK. Go back, read 1968, Goldwater run for president. He began to represent all of the ideals of the Southern. Remember, the South wanted to keep slavery. After that, Goldwater becomes their candidate as a Republican. The Democrats, who had been winning, making wins and wins and wins, they voted for the Civil Rights Act. The folks in the South did not. There was a transition of power from the Democratic Party, which were the party of the South, to becoming the Republicans, who were now supporting those Southern whites who wanted to keep slavery. And then they came up with Jim Crow and all of those other things. So 1968 becomes the point where it all hits the fan. Lyndon versus Goldwater. And in that election, we know that Johnson won. And in that place, we had a shifting from the party, quote unquote, of racial, indiscretions of racism from the Democratic Party, who had been that party, to the Republican Party, which has now, as we move forward, has kind of continued that legacy. And now we see the things that are going on. And so as we look at the modern politics of things, there has been a shift, but it's important to understand that the nuanced approach and the understanding of all of those things. Quick fact, Democrats ain't the same. Democrats and Republicans aren't the same. Republicans, case closed. I'm going to tell you, Jimmy is out there. He's like, listen, let people vote for who they want to vote for. If you want to vote for a Democrat, vote for a Democrat. Want to vote for a Republican, vote for a Republican. But we have to be able to do this two things. And I think that this is where the village has to understand. I can vote for me as an individual. But if I vote for myself as an individual, what my personal situation is, we lose the benefit of what needs to take place across the political spectrum. And that's why I think that Black folks have to stop allowing themselves to be split up and all of these other things. What is your agenda for Black America? If you don't have one, then it's problematic. And right now, I see two parties, both Democrats and Republicans, that don't really carry a real agenda, neither of them, for Black America and the things that are too important. Jeffrey Bull's two wings, same bird. Do you want it fried or do you want it baked? Which piece of the chicken do you want? Shout out to all of those. Jock Reed, I did get your statements up there. I really appreciated them. It said Joe Madison, the Black Eagles, the Black Eagle, the Black Hawk, had an opportunity to interview him another time. But his comment, if you hit them in their pocketbooks, their hearts and their minds will follow. Hey, I told you who was on tour with Chili and T-Bars is in vogue. Free your mind and your rest will follow. Amen from Lisa about that division, I believe. When you start playing with people's money, things begin to look funny. All right, we're going to get out there and get into this conversation. We vote for the world we want to live in. There you go. So many opinions, so many thoughts, and that's what this show is. It is an opinion, all right? But I want to get into our politics should be local. Jimmy, Jeffrey, if I've ever heard anyone say anything that is so true, we have to be concerned about our national landscape. We do, but we have to be concerned about our local politics. Our local politics are so important because it's what impacts us the most. Now, does that mean we just sleep on the national landscape? No, because what we understand is that funding and how things are operating and how the local government is able to operate also is impacted by what takes place on a national level. So all of these things are important, but our local politics are the things that we often sleep on. Voter turnout is low on local politics. Why? Because we only vote when there's somebody that we like running for president. And the reality of it is those people who you see every day who you're voting matters by what happens in those local elections, have the ability to impact your life the most. All right, so we're going to turn this, all right, all the heavy stuff, we're going to get it out the way. We're going to turn in just a moment and talk to Miss Abaya about some inspiration. I'm going to let her get her thoughts in order, but I'm going to begin this conversation because my producer has taken a step out of the room. I'm not sure where he went, but you know we're going to keep it moving. I want to talk a little bit about silencing division. And I say this because it is important for us to understand that the village, and I like to talk, when I started this show, can you believe back in 2018, March of 2018 was the first year that we did, the first month that we did Straight Talk. That has been 8 years. 8 years of Straight Talk is crazy. But when we started this, we started talking about how do we rebuild the village? What do we do? How do we come together in solidarity and build a consensus of what is necessary for the village? How do we make sure that we create a situation that everyone is able to be heard and seen in the village? And then how do we bring the resources that the village possesses back to the village? And I asked the question based upon the African proverb. We say that it takes a village to raise a child, but what happens when the village is on fire? My people, we are in a situation where the village is on fire. It is necessary for us to bring those resources back to the village, to rebuild the walls of the village so that we can then create a more acceptable place. When we look at the wealth gap skyrocketing, not only growing, but growing massively, 6 times white America has in terms of Black America, in terms of wealth. 6 times. I think the average Black American is somewhere around 46,000. And the average white American in terms of wealth is about 247,000. We have things that are so much more important that if we would really major on, make the main thing the main thing and deal with the things that are most important, we wouldn't have time to fight each other. But that is that same old coon mentality. I don't know if I can say coon on the radio. I guess I've already said it. That is the same coon mentality that we've operated from a long time. And it's time for us to really begin to silence all of the nonsense that causes us to be divided. And I think about it and I say it like this. I'm the type of person, if someone brings me something about someone, I'm going to ask them, did you go to that person? Did you speak to that person? Have you talked with them? If not, I'm going to go with you, because we don't have enough resources or enough people power to really be divided into all of the sectors that I've seen. Now, I'm going to tell you another thing that really bothers me, and I have been going and talking with pastors and making sure that we connect with pastors, is the vision among people of faith. When we look at the rights that we have available now, and we look at the movement that gave the freedoms, not only to blacks, but to blacks and browns and the LGBTQ plus QI community and women and everyone else, it was a unified front of folks who were working together in harmony. And the Black church had been the catalyst for that movement. It was the place where these movements took place. And then what did we see? We saw even outside forces trying to divide. Now there's an issue between Malcolm X and MLK, and who are we going to follow? Which leader? And what I got to say to the village is that we've got to stop allowing ourselves to be put in a position that we allow outside sources to cause conflict as well as division in our communities. And we have to stop inside forces from allowing these things to take place. Now, I'm going to tell you, back in the days of Austin, where he was such a strong man, and Marsh, these men had the wherewithal to bring in folk of dissenting opinions who were disrupting the unity in the community and sit them down and say, now listen here, young man, listen here, young woman. This is what we're going to do. This is, what are your issues? How are we going to move? I have said this a number of times. We have lost both the voices and the ability to hear the elders that are important. I don't see the fathers in our community the way that we need to. I don't see those matriarchs and patriarchs standing up and taking leadership. And in many forces and many places, it feels as though we are in a battle within the village between the matriarchs and the patriarchs and the way that things have always been, and the younger people who desire to have a place of leadership. So I think there has to be a real conversation, and I'm thankful. I know that Bishop Campbell has something that is going on in the community to bring the community together. I'm hoping I'll be able to find that in just a second and share that, because he has one of our first African-American mayor, Gary Loster, our male, he's out there. There we go. We put it up on the screen. Bishop Larry Campbell is hosting Honorable Gary Loster at New Birth, 3121 Sheridan Street. Now, I don't talk about events, but we're calling all leaders, pastors, community workers, youth groups, church outreach groups, the whole community to come together. This is something he's pulling together with AllPac, which is basically the alliance between community and law enforcement. I'm hoping a key piece of what that conversation will be the fact that we are going to talk about silencing the division. Sometimes we got to just dead that thing. We got to call it what it is. We don't like the divisive language. We don't like what we're seeing. Call it to the carpet and do something different. Jock Reed, you are the only pastor in our community addressing these issues. Much respect, man. I love you. Jeffrey Bulls, there will never be unity without accountability. Dang, you got to hit it on the head. And most of who leads us aren't being held accountable. Meanwhile, our young people see the hypocrisy and choose to go their own way. Jimmy Green, I knew these people would have something to say. Those elders weren't competing with each other. Jimmy, you about to cause me to run up out of here and run around the building. They weren't competing with each other for attention, each comfortable with their own spotlight. Jimmy, Jeffrey, Jacques, you are all hitting it on the head. We have to, and I'll tell you this, Jimmy, that type of comfortability as a leader comes from being okay with yourself. Because when you're not secure in yourself, what you do is you look at other people, and the spirit of comparison is always the greatest thing that will cause you to be divided, because you'll look at yourself in the light of what someone else has been gifted to do and to be. And so we've got to make sure that we're bringing these together. So thank you very much. My producer, I told you he'd be on it for that thing. We want to get together. There's also another coming together of the minds. I think it's more in terms of law enforcement, reinforcement, diversion, and what is it called when you get expungement over at Victorious Believers Ministries. That too will be happening. And so we want to make sure that what we do is we start to celebrate and we start to collaborate. And one of the things I'm going to do in this platform is that if these things, I believe, are essential to us being able to change the conversation, I'll tell you something. There had been a narrative, and I know this, and I'll call a spade a spade. I don't hesitate to do this. There had been Chris and I, we grew up as brothers. There was a disconnection. I went to Chris. We talked about it. Even with this conference that, and I'm talking about Chris Pryor from Victorious Believers Ministries. So we have made an agreement to be very intentional about how we connect with each other and how we have conversations, and to make sure that we don't let years and decades go by. If we hear something that doesn't sound right, we said, you know what, you're going to be the first person I call. We've got to be accountable for how we lead this community. And we can't allow things to be seen and heard and be spiraling out there, because people will take, my mother used to say, or my grandmother used to say, a dog that will bring a bone will carry a bone. And basically what they were saying is that we allow this craziness to happen in our community because nobody stands up and makes it not okay. We don't stand up against it. But I'm going to tell you, so I believe in it. I believe if you a man, go to a man, talk to that man, deal with that man to man. Otherwise, shut up, because you're acting like a boy or you're acting like a girl. So Pastor Chris and I, we've done that when we had the Help CVI conference. There was a whole lot of speculation and division about what was going in. I had some personal way. I felt some kind of way. I was in my feelings, and I've said that to him. We talked about it, and I'll tell you his response and how he really tried to show up, and he showed up big in support of the Help. The very first CVI conference we had here in the community was absolutely beautiful. We have to have the hard conversations if we're ever going to deal with the things that are necessary. And Jimmy Green out there, one more time, for decades, there has been a group of community leaders brought together every month, the Bishop's Breakfast, and people of influence show up. Where's the black version of that? We don't need the black version. What we got to do is just show up. But I understand what you're saying, Jimmy, because they come in and you talk about what's happening in the community. You talk about who the key players are. You highlight an organization so that we understand what their role and their function and the value is for that community. You're absolutely right. And I think that those things are important. And I think that these types of forums and conversations, they help those things to have a place to flourish and to thrive. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to get off this one, right? If you're out there and you're doing something, I'm going to say Janelle Smith. Janelle Wicker Smith is what she goes by. Eric Smith's wife. Eric hit me up and said, hey, the AKAs are doing this. They want to plant a tree, Earth Day, whatever, community. And he said, hey, can help. Can help. And I was like, absolutely. And most of you that are out there, if you have you need some strong young men. We have young men. We got some old men who got some good ideas. I'm an old man when it comes to doing that thing. But we have some younger men that are 20, 25, 24, 26, strong men. We said, hey, we got a couple of good things going on, but we'll send a couple people over to make that work. That's what community building is about. I don't have it. You have it. Can we borrow what you have? Can we partner in that way to make it happen? And shout out, we're going to miss you, Eric and Janelle. Oh my God, Janelle we've been friends since grade school, went to school together. They have become such an integral part of this community with their work with the Divine Nine, but with the work that they do in the community. Jack and Jill, all of the pieces of the puzzle that they are a part in. Eric, not only just being a great man with the schools and on the board and all of those things, but also being a man who has been successful, who takes care and loves his family. Whenever you lose people like that, we need 10 more to replace them. So shout out. I know that God has you going off to greater things, greener pastures. So we miss you. We love you. We support you. We pray for you and for your success. Shalana Bradley, help can help. So we want to make sure that we're doing these things to make sure that we're coming together. Now, I do want to say this, Jimmy, you were a part of the conversation. Jacques, I reached out to you, and Taco, you weren't on this last round of conversations, but we have seen some powerful men. Help has Michael Balls. I'm going to say this because it ain't Help. Michael Balls, who works with Help, has come in. And he says, listen, I want to do a rites of passage program. And I said, Mike, I'm down with it. What can we do? So I said, let me help you provide the infrastructure. We're going to put the people behind you. We got some people that are working specifically on this. And we're going to do a rites of passage program for the boys in the village. And what I mean by this is simple. It cannot be an organization thing. I know that we have Women's of Colors doing things. I know that we have Help doing things. I know we got Loyalty doing things. I know we got Victorious Believers doing things. I know we got Come Out, Stay Out doing things. I know we got Mama, Sisters, Kitchens, Cousins doing things. Everybody's doing things. But what we've got to begin to do is do things together, collaboratively. If we're really going to be a rites of passage program, it cannot be a single group. It can't be Kareem. It can't be Jimmy. It can't be Brian Pruitt. It has to be the village. A rites of passage program was a statement by the men of the village that said, hey, we're going to train our young men with the tools that they need to move to the next level and enter into this thing called manhood with the tools and the skills that were necessary for them to be effective. And if this is done by a single organization, it is a defunct rites of passage program. And so I said to Mike, listen, I'm going to support, but we've got to buy in. We got to get buy-in from the communities. We need everyone that is a part of the community. I shot an email out. Taurus Simpson, I know, my brother, conversations, we have never had an issue, never had a problem. So I said, hey, we need you to be a part of this conversation because we need all of these churches. We need all of these organizations. We need all of these people to come together to surround these young men. And then each of us will train what we're good at, what we're most capable at. Let's put the most capable, most equipped, most talented at engagement. And it doesn't mean the smartest, but the ones who are most equipped to engage our young people to teach them these skills. When they teach these skills, we bring all of the men of the village together. This is a beautiful thing. And I know that God is in this thing. We bring all of these men together. We take the boys on a retreat. We spend some time fishing and teaching them how to kill, and clean a fish. We teach them how to tie ties in this weekend or this couple of days away together. And we can build a real pathway forward for how we engage and empower our young men. I am so thankful. Jimmy, you were in that conversation. Amos O'Neill, you were in that conversation. Amos is like, listen, not only do I want to be a part of this conversation, but I believe that I have a connection because he knows everybody out there, right? Because he's hunting, fishing, and all of those other things. He says, Kareem, I think that I may have a place that we can bring those men and boys together that has access to lakes. You let me know what's going on and I'll engage. That is the kind of leadership that we need. People who are not just going to talk about it, but be about it. There is no more time. Zero. This is how much time the village has to spend on divisive conversation. Zero. Time has run out. There is no time left on the clock. The buzzer has rang. It's time for us to come together. No time for division. Miss me with that. But if you're out there doing great things, making great things happen, we're going to talk about it with Shalana Bradley when we come back. We'll take a quick commercial break with more Straight Talk.
You're listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
Save big money on your next project now at Menards. Menards is the leading supplier of quality roof and floor trusses. Choose from our large selection of residential and post-spring trusses or design custom trusses specifically for your project. Get started on your building project today in store or on Menards.com. Plus, view our weekly flyer for all the great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
We're always upgrading phones, cars, tech, but what about the energy systems we all rely on?
That's exactly what Enbridge is doing. Investing in the energy systems that help keep energy reliable and affordable for Michigan families and businesses today and tomorrow.
So it's about keeping Michigan's energy moving.
Exactly. Smart investments help keep energy secure and affordable for everyone. Learn more at enbridge.com/Michigan. Enbridge, tomorrow is on.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
RocketGrabPlus.com has you covered with great deals to local area businesses. Get half off to experiences, food, services, and more. Go roller skating at Captain Dave's, then get some ice cream from Fuzzy's or dinner from Drift. Get a new spring outfit from Fran & Dot Boutique or get your swing on at PD's Dugout. Check back for new deals every week. There's something for everyone at RocketGrabPlus.com. Save some money today.
RocketGrabPlus.com.
Did you get the video?
Let me check. Nah, it's still trying to send, I guess. Oh, wait, it just came through. What? That is hilarious.
It might only take a second to check your phone while driving, but that's all the time it takes to change everything. Whatever it is, it can wait. Because whether it's a ticket, a crash, or a life, it's not worth it. Put the phone away or pay. Paid for by NHTSA.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code PUSH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code PUSH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PUSH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Chedrick Green is a firefighter and Marine who believes in fully funding public schools, lowering costs for working families, expanding job training programs, and protecting access to reproductive health care. Jason Tooney took $8 million in taxpayer money for a bailout, but supports MAGA policies that cut healthcare and basic needs and drives up costs for all of us. The choice is clear. Vote for Chedrick Green on or before May 5th. Paid for with regulated funds by Progress Michigan Political Action Fund, 614 Seymour Avenue, Lansing, Michigan, 48933. Not authorized by any candidate or candidate committee.
It's Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1.
Hey, it's Kareem with us. Last segment of Straight Talk here. We're bringing into the stream Miss Amaya Bradley because now she has something going on. We were talking about inspiration, butterflies, and feeling good about our community. Hey, she is one of those mentees that since she has started, she's like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a businesswoman. We have worked together. She did her first conference. I was glad to be a part of it. Now she is coming back. Girl, you make things happen. Sponsored by Grow in Confidence Inc. And so she is here. Amaya, you've been with us every single week providing inspiration. Let's talk about this conference. This is the week.
Yes, it is. It is this week. It's this Saturday at the Horizons Conference Center. I am excited. I cannot wait. We have amazing speakers. We're doing classes for 4th and 5th graders with us. Our speakers for that class is First Lady Kenyatta Pryor from Victorious Believers Ministries, as well as my mother, Shalana Bradley. And that class is talking about your voice matters. Let's talk in the mirror. Let's give ourselves those affirmations. And then we have our middle school group with Miss Madison Duncan. She will be speaking on understanding the glow up. us young girls, we need to understand that, okay, yep, we're coming from a little girl to middle school years to teenage years, then we're going to be becoming an adult soon. So those are the things that we're going to be talking about.
Body
in that
is
class.
changing.
Yes, sir.
All right.
And then we have Miss Sandra Ware. She'll be talking about confidence without comparison with our high school group. I'm so excited. Then we have our mothers. See, mothers, you're not left out. Fathers, I'm coming up with something with you soon. Mothers, you are not left out. We're talking about navigating a relationship with our daughters with Mother Alethea Nichols Taylor, my mentor. She'll be speaking on that piece. Then we have my dad, Pastor Kareem J. Bowen. He'll be speaking to our fathers and our young girls about daddy's little girls.
So we're excited about this. I know that I'm excited to see what's happening. Registration has been popping.
Yes.
Like last year was good, but registration is like popping right now. We are really close to the goal that we set. And this is the call to action that I want you all to know. I've been talking with people saying, hey, can you sponsor 5 girls? Can you sponsor 10 girls? You know, if we get each of you to sponsor 5 or 10 girls and get those young women here.
Yes.
Get them to us. We'll get them registered. We will empower them. Miss Amaya and this one, I mean, the star-studded talent that is there. Sandra Ware, you mentioned her talking to the high school girls. She is what we call the tech connector. She works with Amazon, Google, LinkedIn. She went to I was with Microsoft with her for training. She's taking the people into room, and Microsoft is training these individuals.
Yes.
She's done things with NASA. So to have her here inspiring these young women is absolutely phenomenal. But I want to challenge those of you out there. I know that some of you, if you can't sponsor 5, sponsor 1.
Yes.
Let's do something. We always talk about our young men, and I'm a proponent for that. Like, we've got to get our young boys to do something. But we've got it because we always talk about who our young women will marry.
Yes.
But I need y'all to understand a lot of stuff that we see happening in the community and in the streets often starts with these young girls and these relationships.
Yep.
So if we can get them at a younger age, we can instill in them some values, some self-esteem, speak to who they are, allow them to understand that just because a boy says that you're pretty, what does that mean? You should have known you were pretty before them. But it requires that entire village concept. We talked about this earlier.
Yes.
We got to bring the village in. Amaya, is there a final appeal that you would like to give those who are listening about how important this is? I want you to share how important was mentorship to your life.
Oh, it was very important. It still is to this day. I always love to still learn. I always tell people that you need to always be taught.
Mm-hmm.
So mentorship is very important, because if you're not led and not being taught anything, you won't know what to do next. So always remember that you need somebody to be that you can trust. One that you can trust, one that you know that they're being very transparent, as well as making sure that they're going to hold you accountable for those actions that if you're off or anything.
Man, you said something very powerful. Mentorship helps you to understand what to do next. And I think that's super important. I want to thank God that he blessed me with so many amazing mentors. I want to thank, there are men that are out there, Amos O'Neill, and I saw Jimmy Green and Brian and Jeffrey Bulls, and so many men that are a part of the conversations that I have in the community that have been impactful influences. Some of them may be close to age, so I can't consider them a mentor. But what we understand is that birds of a feather flock together.
Yes.
So if we can find individuals who are doing great things and put them in one space to make great things happen, girl, you make things happen. How can they get involved? How can they sponsor? How can they get a hold of you? If you're out there, please allow us to know. I'll sponsor 1. I'll sponsor 5. I'm doing 10. My church is doing 10. If I need to do 20, I'll do 20 because this is so vitally important. And I was a part of it. I sat through it last year and I was like, wow, this is amazing. Now to see registration jumping, I want to reach those targets. I want our girls to be empowered. How can they get involved and where can they sponsor?
So first, let me tell you how much it is.
Yes.
So $25 per youth. So if you want to sponsor a youth, it's only $25. Adults, it's $40. I have somebody that actually reached out to me earlier this week, was like, hey, can I sponsor a mother and a daughter? I said yes, for sure. I understand we're in a time right now where things are challenging. So yes, please do. Anything helps. So the way you can sow into Growing Confidence, you can sow via our website, growingconfidence.org, or Cash App and PayPal, Growing Confidence. To register, please go to growingconfidence.org as well.
Amen. And so I want to talk to those fathers, those men out there. There will be empowerment sessions going on, and you will hear all of these amazing things from all of these amazing women. But there will be a session, dads, if you have a daughter, and maybe you get her on weekends, maybe you're the sole father, maybe the sole parent, or you have custody of that child. This is one of those moments that you get your little girl and you bring your little girl. It's like, you know how you have the daddy-daughter dance?
Yeah.
This is not a daddy-daughter dance, but this is a daddy-daughter confidence moment, a confidence booster. This is where fathers get your young daughters and allow them to see you putting them in the place with positive women. If your baby mama, no, I'm just joking. I ain't gonna go there. You know, we like, oh, your mama, her mama won't. Bring her so that she can hear from other women who will show her the details and the ideas and the principles of being powerful, being self-made as a woman. But then we'll have that conversation. Fathers, those of you who are going to come out, it's important that you're present for your daughters. There is a meal that is a part of that conversation. So I want to make sure that we know that.
Yes.
It's not just $25 sitting there. We got a meal. It's a relevant meal.
Yes, meals. We have raffles. Oh, I cannot wait to see you all see this. Well, I will give you a little secret. Jemiah Ryan, if you guys know, Ryan bags, young women and mothers. It is a bag out there that will be raffled that day.
All right, so y'all like bags. I don't understand it. Shopping bag, groceries bag. Well, men wearing purses these days. That's a whole nother show. But what I want to say at the end of this, if you have daughters, I think this is going to be great. The way I've put my piece of this together is to allow men to speak into the lives of their daughters. I'm creating a session for young women who have grown up in the absence of their father. People don't realize it, but I am a girl dad 3 times over. Maya calls me dad. I got one at home right now, 15 calling me dad. And I raised one that is now 18 from the time she was about 6 months old. And so I understand and I try to connect with these young women so that they understand that the voice that first tells them beautiful should not be some young boy. Their first piece of jewelry that they receive should not be from a man, but their father should be the one who sets the example and paves the way for what it means to be a man of character and integrity. I'll tell you that your women will choose men based upon how their fathers have shown up in their lives. And oftentimes we tell young women, don't date this guy. He's not good for you. He's bad. He's this and that and the other. But we've not set examples. We've not allowed them to court their father to court them before they allow a little boy to come calling, so that they understand what they should expect when a man comes. A man should never blow your horn. My mama, don't you ever blow at a woman talking about for her to come out on a date, or a girl. You know, so you got to go to the door, that you knock on the door. If he doesn't open the door, you stay in the car. If he doesn't open the door, you don't go in the building. These are things that our young women need to understand, so that we are developing these women who become beautiful women, who become powerful. If they should decide to be mothers, they have tools that they are equipped with and instilled with to be exceptional women in their lives. I want to thank you all for what you're doing. Amaya, give me one more time those call letters and that email address, so that these people, come on, I'll sponsor 5, I'll sponsor 10, I'm going to send $100, I'll send $25. We want this to be an amazing opportunity for young girls. Not only that, but she's giving away a scholarship to one of the young women that will be coming. So you want your girls to be in the house, in the place. That's where it's going down this weekend.
This weekend at the Horizons Conference Center at 10 a.m. Registration starts at 9 a.m. If you want to reach me, you can reach me via my Facebook, Growing Confidence, or my personal one, Amaya Bradley, as well as my email, growingconfidence@outlook.com. and you can reach me via phone 989-451-3965.
All right, I think she gave you all of the information that you need. We're so excited to be here with you all today. Amaya, thank you for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Community, we're getting ready to silence the deadliness, the weapon of mass destruction called division. We're deading it right now. I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you. Grace and peace.
You've been listening to Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen on KISS 107.1. The views and opinions expressed on this show by the host, its guest, or call-ins do not necessarily represent the opinion of this station, the staff, its owners, connoisseur media, or its advertisers.